whatever powers that be, about the point of view of riders, the people that, you know, what we've experienced as riders. What I said when we had the safety meeting is that I tend to have some fairly strong points of view on some of these things too, and so if I'm being bossy, we don't even have to follow Robert's Rules of Order on this. I think at this point, I want to hear your points of view. I want to hear what you have to say, and then we'll incorporate all of these comments together, and then try to craft a letter that has those ideas in it. The first thing I wanted to start with is, what are some of the perspectives that we have as riders that are unique to us as riders on the view of regionalism? And one other piece on that is that, you know, there's a lot in the media right now about regionalism. There are a lot of forces, like how you achieve it, do you achieve it, and so on. I guess from my point of view, the most important thing is, what does regionalism mean to us? What, you know, what is the importance of it? What do we potentially gain from it? What are our fears about it? That type of thing.
Or what would you like to see?
What would you like to see? Okay.
Well, I think when Brad was talking about how he was traveling around town, and he said there was one of the things that, like, it wouldn't be easy to just hop on a bus and go to Safety Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's how we need to look at regionalism. Regionalism isn't just connecting St. Pete to Tampa, and Tampa to Clearwater, and, you know, so on. It's got to be more about, you know, if I feel like doing a day trip to Safety Harbor, but I live in downtown St. Pete, how easy is it going to be for me to get there? It's got to be just other communities, not just the three biggest.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about some of the smaller communities as
Yeah.
well as the larger communities.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thought.
Well, when I think of regionalism, I think of the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and how. And now I know we're not San Francisco, but you jump on the Muni, then you can take it to the BART, and you jump on the BART, you can take it over to the East Bay, and then I can't remember what goes on over in the East Bay, but it's pretty seamless. I mean, I don't remember. I remember getting a BART ticket and then being able to use that on the Muni, if I'm correct. No?
That one you could not do. That's the
Well,
only one.
I'm getting a shake, yes.
That's the
and
only
a-
one you couldn't do was BART and Muni.
BART and Muni, but you're talking about,
But generally,
like, yeah, I mean,
generally.
like the Alameda Transit over in Oakland, yeah, I mean,
all that.
yeah. But you can't, I don't think you can
Well,
use the BART.
But the beauty of all that is that Google Maps now routes you across all these transit systems. I mean, you can do goofy things, like say, I want to go from here to Schenectady using transit, and it will try.
Yeah.
But take the 52 to the Amtrak station and take, you know,
Oh, yeah.
little-
Well,
Yeah.
but right now in our region, we have one app, and we're trying to, so you can use one fare media for the entire Tampa Bay area right now. But it's like, I'm listening to you, like, okay, yes, means that you have a seamless connection, and you have, what you're talking about is different levels of service, so that you can go from a local service to a regional service, and then back to, so you can get to your final destination, even if it's not on the longer haul service.
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the other things we need to look at, because I was looking at something online the other day about the new transit center they're building at Tampa International with the, where they're building that new train that's going to go all the way out to the rental car facility. Thank you. And having an express bus there, even if it doesn't go all the way to the terminal of the airport, but going there instead, where people can pick up the bus there and then have it shoot across 60 over to Clearwater Beach. Instead of, yeah, I think it's go better than going and trying to fit it at the old terminal.
There's a 2-phase plan for the airport. One is to have like a short-term connection there, meaning, and then as they build out, a larger connection, but it'd be all right there at the south end of the Comrack.
Okay.
To connect, so you would be able to get off of your bus, check in for your flight, drop your bag, and then get on the people mover into the terminal.
Very cool.
So it'd be like sky caps at the
Okay.
at the bus terminal.
And the
Kinda like
buses you're talking about, like buses, like HART buses, or, I mean,
Well, it could be any buses. I mean, right now, it could be the Route 30, it could be our TIA to Beach Express. There's other regional routes that are expected to go to the airport, downtown Tampa, to the airport. downtown St. Pete. But a lot of those don't exist right now. They're all in plans.
Mhm.
Like a flyaway in LA. You get right off the plane, you go, it's almost at every airline, you can get right on it and get to
Yeah.
like Hanoi. And then from there, it's usually around the routes where buses are there, because their buses are crazy to try to figure out how to go anywhere there. They have a really good buses. But it's like a flyaway, it's a bus you get on right out of the airport, and it takes you to like St. Petersburg or Clearwater Beach or
Yeah.
Treasure Island.
I see the regionalism as a breakdown of all the municipalities and everybody with their little kingdoms. If everyone would open up and join forces, we would have more ability to get funds from Washington. St. Pete, they're not going, it's not that they do not take us seriously, but when we join forces as the Tampa Bay area, then we're looking at Orlando, we would have more, and with the lack of funds, it's essential that we position ourselves more like this whole region needs it, and there's power in numbers, and if we could break down those barriers, then, and make these presentations, and I think this is one of the, the feasibility study is an attempt to do that, but there's too many little kingdoms, and we all have to be one to be able to get the funds to make a mark and make a real difference in transit here, I think. That's how I see it.
It's funny when you talk about regionalism, when you're talking about the different communities, one of the things I realized is that, when you're getting in a car, you don't think in terms of county lines. But when you're getting into public transportation, you still do need to think in terms of county lines and county systems. And like you said, there's a fair, that is now, of the Flamingo Fair. But even just in terms of the whole concept of being able to, it being the transit that happens throughout the Tampa Bay area and having,
And again, I have the two things, but exactly right is concern. The vision with something like Google Maps saying I want to get from here to there and I need to be there at 5 o'clock, and it's saying take the last step in Uber, this on a bus, this on the BART, take Muni to get there, and its ability to put together that in front of you. And then now you just say, well, who do I give the fare to? Or what does my monthly pass cover? What does Flamingo cover? So the perception of the user, thanks to Google Maps, of that being one route, whether it includes Amtrak or whatever, is fantastic. I've not used Flamingo yet. Can we have that same physical approach as you get off the train and get on the bus and off the bus and into Uber, have that same flow? That is very important to me. This business, I took the 100X, and you're in a different world. I'm on a 200X, the one from Gulf to Bay. You're suddenly on a Hart bus, with a Hart driver, and it's like it's the wrong color, and we don't even know. And the same, my neighbor used to drive the one from Olmerton, saying I pull in and there's bad traffic jam, and I said, should I take Kennedy instead of 4? And they said, well, we don't have any traffic planners on this side. The planners are on that side. We have to find out if the traffic jam, are we rerouting? Well, is Hart rerouting buses off of 4 onto Kennedy because of the jam? Well, we're not Hart. We don't know. They don't call us because we're a PSTA bus. How that regional, they'll tell they're 19 buses, but not our one because we're PSTA. And that idea of being the same generation. The other place I see it, so along with the seamless fare, perception of a seamless fare, like you perceive it as a seamless schedule, is new technology. Every time there's a new technology, I'd like it to be regional, even if it's just holy water. But there was a big complaint about the rail, was that what if Hillsborough wants different rail?
Right.
We just went through picking an electric bus for downtown, even though it's just kind of a pilot project. What if Hillsborough picks a different bus and then Pasco picks a different electric system? Can systems like that be picked regionally, even if only one is using it? Can we all get on the same page? That's what the aggregate group, sorry, it's late in the day, was going to do. That we might pick it here, but there would be a consensus. The next guy who picks an electric bus is going to pick the one we pick because we happen to get there first. The next guy who picks a solar-powered bus stop is gonna pick the one they're doing in Pasco. They just happen to get there first, you know, whatever that thing is, that there would be.
I think sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the agency and what the agency needs. We just had a change in our procurement department, and we are going to see if we can have a single procurement director.
Right, T-BARDA is the word I'm looking for, that's what I thought.
Oh,
T-BARDA.
no,
But
no, we're
however,
not-
whatever,
yeah.
whatever that entity, this
But
idea.
we're trying to have a
of-
single procurement director with heart, so that all of those things are more closely aligned.
Wouldn't that be great?
Um,
But that's the two things I
Yeah.
see, is a seamless perception of the jumping on and off, ending up, I want to go to Ybor, so I want to jump a local bus onto the 100X onto the trolley and end up in Ybor. I like that. I'd like it to feel like I'm just on one route. I want it to feel like I have to change, and I think Flamingo's going to do that for me. And the other thing I'd like to see regionally is this, I don't know what to call it. It's not the actual procurement, because HART isn't going to pitch in on us buying electric buses, but I'd like them to buy in on it, you know, that there be some agreement that if they're going to buy an electric bus, they're not going to go their own way, that we're all somehow.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is what I heard you say was basically about, from the rider's perspective, we want an integrated feel, to the technology, to the system. Regardless of how we get to that point, regardless of who does it or how it's actually coordinated, whether it's PSTA continuing to stay exactly as PSTA and HART as HART, but that in fact there is an agreement that, so that the rider doesn't know that.
Exactly.
Any more than we know which roads are FDOT roads, which ones are county roads, which ones are,
Right.
you know, that.
Local roads, exactly.
We don't know that.
Exactly, we don't
And you're
care.
saying as a bus rider, we don't want, or as a transit rider, we don't want to feel a lot of difference either. We want it to be an integrated system.
Exactly.
Well, I think one way we may have to look at that is, how do I say this diplomatically? We have already taken strides in Hillsborough County to access those people. The 100X makes local stops on Gandy Boulevard and at the Britton Plaza Station. Maybe it's time for us to, if HART's not ready to come this way, it's time for us to relook at going that way. For example, maybe the 300X needs to stop at West Shore Mall. Maybe we need to put something like that in place and just start reevaluating how we can create regionalism independently. Yeah, we may have to just do it alone.
Take over.
No, that's not the word I was looking
Yeah,
for.
right, exactly.
Well, I was thinking, that this letter from TRAC needs to, first, because they're always saying, well, it doesn't matter to riders, or it doesn't matter to drivers, or anybody, the borders.
Right.
And we had to be more profound than that, but I don't think so. The politicians that make these decisions on what gets funded and what happens, they're all about the borders. They are
Sure.
all
They're-
about, the service. I mean, HART is cutting the 200X because their funding decisions, they're making their own decisions. They don't care what Pinellas
Yeah.
has to say about that, but they're funding it. So they've decided
Yeah.
to cut that one. If we did decide to go to West Shore Mall, I'm sure there would be people on the PSA board or some folks that would be opposed to that. What do you mean you're going to pick up people from Tampa?
Yeah.
Just like in St. Pete Beach. St. Pete Beach does not pay the same way into the system, and there's all this
Right.
controversy
Yes.
about us sending our bus rapid transit there. Like, why should they get the such a great thing? That's not fair, Brad. I'm like, but I want to go to the Don Cesar, so too bad you're not going to, and I really
Oh,
don't
Emma.
have to transfer to some special bus. It's just in their little area.
Well, with that, what you're saying though, is there, we as the riders, what do you see as being the possibilities of how we can make powers understand the importance to us as users of the system? Just like how does it happen with the highway systems? How does it happen that there's an integrated highway system so that Hillsborough doesn't decide how 275 is, and then it becomes different when it, you know.
It doesn't go from 5 lanes to gravel.
Yeah, exactly, that's right. I mean, how does that end up being integrated? How does that happen?
I think the way that we would have to, the way to get government leaders to see it is you have to use dollar signs. You know, if you can say that if we had more interconnected service, people who live in St. Petersburg that want to go to International Mall, that want to go to West Shore Mall, that want to go to Ybor would have more access to do that and spend their dollars instead of always spending it in downtown St. Pete or at Tyrone Mall. Because, you know, as a transit rider who doesn't have a car, you know, if I want to go to International Mall, it's one thing, Uber. Because
Yeah.
there's no express service on Saturday, and, you know, I love the Apple Store, and they're only at International Mall.
Yeah, I had a note here that says statistics showing actual ridership on existing routes do not capture lost opportunities, trips not taken, new riders not initiated.
Exactly.
That's exactly what you're talking about right there.
If I had ease of access to get to events and things in Tampa, because I get invited to events and things in Tampa all the time, but I have to say no. If I had an easy way to get there, other than, you know, Uber, if I, you know, felt like taking the bus, I'd do it.
Yeah, interestingly, one of the things that, in the notes that I had too, is that, you know, basically, we as regular transit riders have chosen where we live, where we work, where we shop, where we receive medical care, a lot of times based on what transit's available. The best cancer center in the area is in Tampa. I mean, you know, you can't get to Moffitt easily from here, you know, and how, on a completely different note, I had to get a test done that couldn't be done in Pinellas County. I actually had to get someone to drive me to Tampa to get that test done, you know, because there was no easy way to do it as public transportation. So I, you know, but we're a region, medically we're a region, but we're not public transportationally a region.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
They're gonna run buses, I understand, from Brandon, USF, which is near Moffett, Brandon, USF, I guess that's it, to the airport through downtown. They're gonna cut hard off. Is there any way we could compensate them to go to Clearwater to take 200X? And then we would be able to follow those Brandon, USF, since they're already, I mean, we want to do this beach to airport, and they're going to go to the airport. Why not just have one
Oh, well,
Yeah, we've
instead
talked
of
to them.
you have to transfer?
We've talked to them about having some of our express routes be privately operated and having us select a private operator together so that we could do exactly that. So neither one of us
so it would be the
operate.
one bus. It would be the same bus, like you're saying.
Because in Hillsborough County, the MPO, it says we want to get people from the USF area to the beach, and the students want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
So how do we get one bus connected to the beach? But you're right on target.
Because they're gonna, they say, I
Yeah.
looked at their cuts, which I feel bad for the people, but it looks, because if you remember, I'm here because this is what I want is regional express buses. So they say they're gonna go every hour. I don't know if that's every day of the week. Brandon, USF to downtown and the airport.
You're referring to the 10-year plan they put out the other day, where I saw it if you go to the Tampa Airport website, there's a way to get to it.
This was hard.
I did see it, but I can't remember.
And there are proposals for
Yeah.
other regional services. We have our own proposals for regional services. The TIA to the Beach Express. We have one that we're proposing to extend the 100X into downtown St. Petersburg and put service on the weekends. And then also one from downtown St. Petersburg to the airport and then downtown Tampa. So they also have that route planned. We're calling it the 727, like and they call it the airporter, and it's essentially the same route. And so I mean, I think it's all about the funding to do those things.
the Beach Express basically is all Clearwater, right?
Yeah, the
Is
TIA
it
to
because
Clearwater
of
Beach.
St.
yeah.
Petersburg and St. Pete Beach is not interested in getting people from downtown to that area? Or why are the rest of the beaches in Pinellas not like from Clearwater down to Treasure Island? There's
Well, we would expect
not
at
even much
Clearwater
talk
Beach
ever about it.
that people would get on the Suncoast Beach Trolley. So to connect to the
Right.
beaches up and down the beach, you would want to use the Suncoast Beach Trolley. The Central Avenue BRT is being considered a regional connecting route, and so it would be, you would connect to that from the express route from downtown to get out. If you're going to St. Pete Beach and you're coming from the airport, you'd have to transfer in downtown.
Doesn't some geography come into play with this? I mean, the airport, you just shoot right over the Courtney Campbell.
Yes.
You're right in Clearwater Beach, so I mean, it kind of
Very short
geographically,
route.
it kind of,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense to have that go there.
It almost sounds like, with all of the ideas we've talked about, it always sounds like everything coming back to Tampa Airport. It almost sounds like that would be like one of the most major transportation hubs in our regional.
In the region, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's strategically
Can't get to
located.
there.
That's-
Right, I mean, you could get, I mean, think about it, getting off an airplane, being able to get on a bus going in a different direction.
And tourists coming from other, in Europe where they expect that, and yet, you get to TIA now, and what do? How do you know? How do you get to Clearwater Beach? How do you get to St. Pete Beach? I mean, that they're. So bringing it back real quickly again to what we're going to be saying to the board, though. I mean, I guess one of the things I'd like to have our letter say is, these are some of the thoughts that we have as riders, as regular riders of public transportation. And, many of us don't, one of you said, we don't have cars, and some of us don't drive. And so we think in terms of public transportation. And we, and as riders, these are some of the perspectives we have in that whole regionalism debate, is that idea of boundaries are not nearly as important to us as trying to do the things that we choose to do within this region. And if things were available, we would be spending more money in other locations. We would be, visiting more activities. What are some of the other key points that we want to say about the perspectives of a rider relative to regionalism, so that we can go to the board with that?
I'd like to say that regionalism, I don't think we need a merger. I don't want a merger, but I do want, I might like to get a 4-year degree. So I would have to go most likely to USF, which means from Safety Harbor to downtown St. Pete, which isn't fun, as we talked about before, or North Tampa, which is probably even more of a pain. That's a real, but, just the things we talked about. You think that's?
It's true.
Well, yeah.
It's difficult.
That's a real life.
And I'd like to kind of follow up on that, because I'm also worried that with a kind of more regional approach, what's going to be the outcome of that, pushing plans like Tampa Bay Next or Express now, which I know that there's part of that has to do with regional bus route or express bus routes getting on these toll lanes, but I've been in Miami. I know that the HOV lanes down there were switched over into express lanes, and when there's a lot of traffic, those things are dead just as anything else. It's not moving there. I mean, sure, they move a little bit faster, but like if we give all this authority to a regional body, are they just going to push more roads down our throat? And are we going to get more transit options? That's what I would hope to see. I just know when we Green Light Pinellas, okay, where did that succeed? It only succeeded. It only passed in St. Pete, right? And so if we have these big counties and we're getting all these, and I'm kind of sorry if I'm getting a little bit off, but but if we give all this power to the rest of the counties and kind of take that out, are the public transportation advocates going to lose in that?
gonna be even more diluted, is what you're
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
You know, that's something we can put in the notice, to say that we are very concerned about continuing to have a robust local delivery of public transportation, which is the majority of how we use it. However, as public transportation riders, we do want the opportunity to travel more easily within the region as well. And so we support, strong, robust regional or local public transportation, and then where it's appropriate, have, cooperative activity, strong cooperative activity for the region, so that the key destinations, like are in the planning thing, getting from the airport to those locations, those are handled in aggregate, not as individual. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Because I didn't have that in my notes, but I think that's a really important thing, is that what you're saying is that you want strong local within the context of a smooth region.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone advocates centralized.
No, I think that, I didn't know that was where we were gonna go, and I think that's good that sounds like everyone's pretty much in agreement on that view. Okay?
Would you want to consider the committee taking a stand on the timeliness of this, where they're going to pick the 3 top projects that they're going to focus on? Do we want to even make a stand on what they're focusing on? or
So,
no?
you might want to get some, this is a very weighty topic.
It is.
has a lot of directions
Yes.
it can go in. I don't know if you can have one discussion, one meeting to finalize the feelings of this group. A couple of directions that you could go in is to get more information about where the regional transit feasibility plan is going. They are planning some public meetings in August. We've asked that they plan their public meeting for Pinellas, for it to be here on a track night, so that it's real easy for you all to attend. If that is agreeable to you, we'll continue to ask for that, so they might do like a 4 to 6 meeting, or a 5 to 7 meeting, in which case we can start or end this meeting in downstairs, and they could have the public meeting right downstairs. And just and make some comments about what you see coming out of that project. There's another position that you could take that I'm hearing is sort of prior to this is saying, we need seamless connections, we need you to fund this, we need you to do these things to make this a better travel experience for everyone, understanding that the local system is just as important as regional. I mean, so you could take sort of a broad view like that. You could focus on this new plan, ask for other things that you'd like to see either us do with HART, in which case we would send it to HART or send it to the Transportation Management Area Leadership Group, which is the MPO, Consolidated MPO Group. And you might want to take this topic in pieces.
In bites.
Yeah.
Well, based on what you were just saying, I think, and again, don't let me be the only one having an opinion on this, but I think maybe what we could do is the first thing where we really did want our board to hear that these are some of the views of the riders, this is some of the experience of the riders. I think we could probably put together and this would be to be approved at the next TRAC meeting, this is the views of the riders about a focus on seamless, okay, that part. And that we want robust local seamless, and we want stronger regional seamless. And then as a part, we would say we are going to address the perspectives of the TRAC on the plan.
So this might be
That would be
a
the
July
second.
approved letter, and then you might have a September follow-up,
Right.
or
Okay.
October follow-up.
That's fine, yeah.
And seamless doesn't even have to be like one seat destination to destination point A to point B. You gotta.
Right.
We understand that all of us are gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean,
Transit.
somebody's gonna have to transit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It means that the county line don't
Right.
switch from.
This safety letter, I think I hope it will have a strong impact because it has a nice list here that a thoughtful, listening politician, maybe there might be some, might say, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that filter and,
Yes.
or whatever is a problem. Maybe I can do something about that, or I can, and something I think just, a collection, a similar kind of accounting that we, the transit riders, we're interested in these higher level regional policy things, but it really comes down to the local use. And let me just give you, let's the TRAC committee give some examples of how we do go to Moffett, or we do go to downtown Tampa
Yeah.
on these express routes, or even in Pinellas County, we want to get to Safety Harbor, St. Pete Beach,
Yeah,
and we
and it's.
very much rely on the apps and knowledge of the fares and maps and schedules and everything. It needs to be cohesive,
Mhm.
or else we'll just go insane. Kind of like a listing, so that the letter becomes an action list. And maybe some elected officials who get it would say, oh, yeah, this is really important.
Right, and the more, what is nice about that list is there are some very concrete ideas. And the more concrete the ideas coming out of this working group can be, the more likely they are to get
Yeah,
traction.
this is not concrete. Yeah.
I've got two things. One is I heard board member Wheeler Bowman talking yesterday about, she seems like she gets some of this. She was talking about the sidewalk expansion on Fifth Avenue South. And what we were talking with this safety letter is how, it's safer when you have these contiguous sidewalks. And so, when I heard her talking about that, and then you just said, maybe some politicians that get it. She's also on the board. I don't know exactly what to do with that information, but I felt like throwing that out there. The second thing is, do Hart and the Pasco County Transit Agency, do they have track equivalents? I looked through Hart's website and I didn't see anything.
I think I saw something that said that they do, but I tried to find any kind of listing or about it, and I couldn't find it on their website either. Somewhere it did say that they have some kind of a ridership committee, but
I just thought that might be interesting to see if they did, if they were also thinking about some of the same things we were, and maybe even contacting them.
yeah.
You want to call
Sure,
and find out?
I'll try to find out if we exist over the border.
I'll give you some names. of people.
Okay.
So I'm thinking then in terms of next steps is, because this next letter will be presented to our group at the next track, and that's a month away.
July 18th.
During the course of this month, I think, are we allowed to basically craft an initial one, send it out to the members of this group and have them give their additions, changes, or should we just have everybody send everything together? I don't know what we're allowed from a sunshine standpoint to be able to communicate.
I would recommend that somebody draft the letter, and then everybody send their comments to Mary Ann. Mary Ann can consolidate the comments,
okay.
That makes good sense.
Okay.
and then,
So a first
Yeah.
draft, and I'll edit,
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit unclear about the timeline. Could you just say that
Yes.
again, please?
Yes. Just like we had put together this letter that we brought to the track today, we're going to do the same thing, putting together a letter that we bring to the track next month. But we're going to use the notes the things that we talked about here tonight. Mary Ann's going to be the collection point for that. I know I can give you some of my draft points. We can craft together an initial letter, send it out to the members she'll send it out to the members of the committee, to all of you. And you will you know, you can give us your input, you can send it directly to Mary Ann, say, I would add this, I would change this, I would make sure that this is covered in this way. We'll see if we can put together an aggregate new letter that will be the regionalism letter. We'll present that at the next track meeting for everyone to agree.
And the beauty of writing to Mary Ann is that keeps you in the sunshine, because her
Right,
mailbox is
right.
whatever.
And I
You guys aren't discussing it
With each other.
with each
Or writing
other.
to each other.
Right.
And I be,
You need just get the letter and send all of your comments to Mary Ann, then Mary Ann will bring all of the comments to everyone.
right, and I blind copy, so no one sees, like in other words.
Yes, when you send it out,
Out.
yes.
It's BCC, so no one, isn't that correct? I could send the final draft to the committee as BCC.
Yeah, as long as you guys don't discuss it.
Right.
With
The
each
blind,
other.
with each
the
other,
blind
you're
copy
okay.
thing is just a nice thing to do, so that then, just,
Nobody
so that nobody by
inadvertently
accidentally hits
hits
reply,
reply.
and then
Right,
Reply
Yeah.
all.
talk to each other.
right,
Yeah.
okay, that's perfect. Sounds good.
Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this. This is cool.
Louis got trial by fire on sunshine law. Yeah.
Oh, yes, and after the July 18th track meeting will be the group effort on art and transit. And we
Right.
hope that Tanya will be better. Did everyone sign the card? Did we get it around?
I didn't
Brad,
get a
did you
chance to
sign the
sign
card?
Oh, here.
No,
pass it.
what's-
And then I'm going to give this to you, Mary Ann, because you have her address and that way.
Brad would like
Oh,
to
Brad,
sign it.
oh, I'm sorry, Brad wants to sign.
And
Yeah, no, go ahead.
no, I didn't.
I did.
Is she not feeling well?
She got bitten by, she got mauled by two dogs, and she said, what she'd said in her email was that there was like infection, you know, that she had to actually have something lanced, I think, today.
Yeah, she wasn't well. She'll, hopefully she'll be better by next month.
Okay, so I'm sorry, and then we talked about having more regionalism discussions in the future, right? And so is this something that we'll find out next month when we're going to continue it, how we're going to continue this conversation?
Yes, Cassandra mentioned that there will be a meeting of the regional transit feasibility study, and they're actually going to have a public meeting here in this building the same time that we're meeting here, so.
Yeah, they're planning their public engagement month in August. And so we're asking them to hold their Pinellas public meeting here on the same night as the August track.
Okay.
We have that's not, they haven't agreed to that yet, but that's what we've asked for.
And then the
And-
concept would be to then maybe a follow-up
The
regional
follow-up.
letter
Okay.
after
Yeah.
that.
Yes, exactly.
So this is
yeah.
regional one and then regional two.
That's
And
right.
Or you can decide whatever you want after you see the comments.
Yeah.
So that could just be your comments specifically on the study.
Yes.
Exactly,
Mm,
that's right.
right.
Yeah, the regional one part is really, I think at this point,
Understand.
these are the views of transit riders as it relates to regionalism in general terms. Because one of the first most important things I have, said that I just want the board to hear it. I want them to hear what we're saying,
Yes.
what we're experiencing.
Right. Right. So just one question, sort of, in general, if we're gonna ask for this meeting to be in August here, public meetings are usually 4 to 6, 4 to 7, something like that. Would you like to have maybe the track meeting maybe start at 4:30 that day, so that we can start, everybody can come to the public meeting downstairs first?
Right, it'll probably be in the board
It'd
meeting.
probably be in the boardroom. Do you have any preference, or would you rather like break here and then go
Well, Gloria
downstairs?
won't be here.
I won't be here, I will be in Europe.
Yeah, Gloria won't be here. But I
Sorry.
think
Think
4
about it.
is okay,
Yeah.
because they usually end at 5:30, and then people could just take a break, and we'll go downstairs.
Okay, I was thinking maybe we should start,
Oh,
like cut the meeting a little short, so everybody
Well,
can.
that'll be the one Mark will be running.
Mark will be running
Right, so
that.
Mark, you're gonna have to
Oh,
cut that
wonderful.
meeting real
Okay, it's your
short.
decision, so
So
we
either we can talk about that.
Or you have
So
a
we
very
running that meeting.
abbreviated
We can have a
agenda,
tight agenda
tight
in August.
And maybe I'll have minutes.
So no 6 action items? on that one?
These were short.
No, you're right, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh.
But holy cow, are we ever gonna get through this?
I
Yes.
know,
they
and
were
that's why it was so
important
tiny, because there was so much paper. But
Yeah.
she will have to adjourn the meeting officially.
Oh, here.
Would you like to adjourn?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm officially adjourning the
Working meeting.
initiative
Okay.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Everybody gets to sign?
I
Brad,
think-
Brad?
Brad
Yeah.
signed it, yep, so, yeah, do that, Mary.
I love the Pride Bus, by the way. I saw
do
it.
you?
I know,
I
isn't
saw it
it
the other day
awesome?
coming out of Grand Central. I was trying to get a picture of it to put on Facebook because all my friends and I want to go take a picture with the Pride Bus.
Of course.
And I've been meaning to
Oh,
call you, but
Pride
I'm busy
Bus.
at work.
Yeah.
I want to know when it
I've
runs
seen
through
it.
Grand
I've
Central so
seen
we
it.
can all go take a picture with it.
Well, we're pulling it off the road.
Just to
Okay,
get ready